Another GDC has come and gone, bringing with it some interesting insights into the future of Xbox, both good and bad. In today's video, we're going to dive into comments Phil Spencer made that suggest the next Xbox could radically shake things up, as well as some rumors about Xbox's flatlining performance that has the fandom all up in arms. Welcome to Xbox Ready, my YouTube channel where I talk about everything going on with Xbox, the latest news, their accessories, their games, you name it. I'm really working hard to get to 160,000 subs, so if you can help me get there, I'd really appreciate it. Also, for those of you who really like it when my cat April hangs out on the couch right there, I'm sorry, she's doing something else. She's not going to be in this video. She's taking the day off, but enough about that. Let's discuss. So for those of you who might have missed it, the annual Game Developers Conference, otherwise known as GDC, happened last week. Traditionally, this is an expo convention style event where game developers go. Obviously, it's in the name, and the big players show off what they've been working on, their new engines, the fancy new tools. They have panels for developers, and it's a networking opportunity for them as well. From what I've seen, apparently it was a weird vibe this year, which is totally understandable because a lot of devs lost their jobs recently, and the devs that are left standing are like, I'm going to lose my job too. There's like this kind of weird anxiety in the air. And while we got some interesting news tidbits here and there, I saw that the CEO of Larian Studios said, we're not going to work on Baldur's Gate 4, and we're not doing DLC for Baldur's Gate 3. I also saw that In-World AI, who Xbox has a partnership, they had a pretty good presence there, showing off their NPC AI technology. But outside of some things here and there, it seemed like a relatively quiet event. The big thing, apparently, was Epic Games. They announced that they were going to have their own mobile storefront on iOS and Android devices by the end of 2024, officially challenging both Apple and Google for mobile gaming dominance. We also know that Xbox is interested in doing something similar. They want to have a mobile game store of their own. They want people playing Xbox games on their phones, on their tablets. So this very well could be a prelude for those eventual Xbox plans. But Ray, what's going on? Why are we talking about phones? Why are we talking about the Epic Games Store? I thought this was about Xbox. Talk about Xbox, man. Well, because Epic Games expanding their presence onto mobile devices seems to be very closely tied into something that Phil Spencer wants to do for future Xbox consoles. In an interview that Phil Spencer did during GDC, he said that he wants to open up Xbox consoles, that he doesn't just want the Microsoft Store to be the only place you buy games when you boot up your Xbox. He wants places like the Epic Games Store. Specifically, he name-dropped them. He's like, I'm tired of these closed ecosystems. He says, yeah, consider our history as the Windows company. No one would blink twice if I said, hey, when you're using a PC, you get to decide the type of experience you have by picking where to buy games. There's real value in that. He also goes on to say that the math ain't mathin' anymore. It used to be that you made an investment in putting out these consoles, and then you would just depend on people buying games through your storefront in order to recoup that cost, but the math ain't mathin' anymore. It's something that we've been hearing about a lot. That's exactly what Peter Moore was saying in a recent interview that he did, who was the old Phil Spencer pretty much. And everyone was like, boo, Peter Moore, you suck. But it turns out that Phil Spencer is thinking a lot of the same things. And this idea of like an open Xbox console, I'll be able to whatever, buy games at the Epic Game Store or the Microsoft Store or maybe even Steam. Damn it! That might be just such a weird idea or an out there idea that it just might work. Listen, if there was an option where I could buy one console and play Nintendo, PlayStation, Steam, Xbox, whatever game that I want, I'm buying that console. It doesn't matter that, oh, I have such good memories with Nintendo, whether it's the Game Boy or the Super Nintendo or the N64 or the Wii. If I have the option to just have an all-in-one thing, I'm getting that. And let's be honest, guys, this is exactly what all of us as customers want. We just don't want to admit it because that's such a radical departure from how things are traditionally done. This video is brought to you by Manscaped. Guys, it is officially springtime, and you know what that means. Spring cleaning. We're cleaning up our life. We're getting rid of stuff we don't need anymore. We're cleaning out the carpets and the drapes, if you know what I'm saying. And there's no better way to do that than with the Performance Package 5.0 Ultra from Manscaped. Let's go ahead and dive into everything that you get with this deal, starting with the Lawnmower 5.0 Ultra. This is a really awesome trimmer that comes with skin-safe technology, 2 blades. And the trimmer, and this time around with the 5.0, has longer, wider teeth, so you get a close, smooth shave. And if you wanted to take it a little bit further, really level up your grooming game, pop the trimmer blade off and put on the foil blade for an even closer, smoother experience. All the products in your performance package are waterproof, so you can take them with you in the shower, makes cleanup super easy. If you wanted to shave in the dark as well, they got an LED light right at the top of that thing. Super bright, makes things really easy. But why stop there, guys? Let's go ahead and move on up the body and make sure all of those pesky nose hairs are out of the equation with the Weed Whacker 2.0. And once you're done getting that silky smooth shave, why not follow up with the Crop Preserver and the Crop Soother? The Crop Soother is a shea butter based lotion that'll have you feeling super fresh and renewed after that shave of yours. And to make sure that freshness lasts throughout the day, you also have the Crop Preserver. And if the Lawnmower 5.0, the Weed Whacker 2.0, the Crop Soother, the Crop Preserver, if all of that wasn't enough, in this package, Manscaped is throwing in 2 free gifts just for you. You'll get a pair of their boxers with their patented jewel pouch, and also the Shed 2.0 toiletry bag. If you want to join the over 10 million men who have entrusted their self-care and hygiene to Manscaped, go on over to manscaped.com and use my code XboxReady to get 20% off your purchase, free international shipping, and those 2 free gifts that I was just talking about. Thanks again to Manscaped for sponsoring this video. I will say using the Epic Game Store as an example, though, is probably the worst thing about this. No one wants the Epic Game Store on Xbox. All of their games you can buy on Xbox already, and the storefront itself, let's just be honest, guys, this is just doo-doo. No one wants the Epic Game Store. No, people want their Steam libraries on their console, which of course sounds super idealistic, super far-fetched. Between Phil Spencer talking about this idea and actually making it a reality, there are tons of legal hurdles and paperwork. I don't even want to think about it. But if Steam could reach some kind of agreement with Xbox, that would be absolutely killer. But would they even be open to the idea? I mean, if Xbox is doing all the work for them, hey, you could put Steam on our Xbox consoles. Why not? You'll make a couple of extra bucks, and you don't have to do pretty much anything to make it work. Like Steam's success, it's not through hardware sales. It's just by getting people to buy games through Steam. And yes, I know that they have the Steam Deck, and they're trying to push that, but traditionally, Steam as a company is a storefront first. And even though they have the Steam Deck, a handheld console, they don't have a traditional Series X equivalent out in the market, so there's not really a conflict of interest there. And speaking of a Steam-like console, well, they already tried that. The Steam Machine was supposed to be what people are thinking an open-ended Xbox would look like. But, well, it flopped and ultimately was discontinued. So the question becomes, can Xbox succeed where Steam failed, bringing to market a console you can hook up to your TV or monitor that has the affordability and the ease of use of a standard video game console, while somehow retaining that kind of open-ended nature of gaming on a PC? Yes, and maybe no. I believe yes, because as much as people want to poo-poo on Xbox for falling behind in the console wars and the hardware race, they have a lot of experience in the home console market, experience that Steam just didn't have at the time. They have an established fan base, people who would buy this thing if they ever come out with it. So, thinking about it like that, I feel like they have a pretty decent shot. On the other side, it's looking less and less like Xbox is interested in hardware at all. They just want people to play their games. Phil Spencer is saying that the whole problem right now is that it's getting harder and harder to justify the investment in hardware because not enough people are buying games to offset that investment. And if you open your system up, wouldn't that just exacerbate the problem? With more options to buy games versus just buying them through the Microsoft Store on an Xbox, wouldn't that open up the possibility of people saying, you know what, screw the Microsoft Store, I'm going to buy all my games through Steam, and for first-party games, maybe that wouldn't be a problem for Xbox because they get a cut of every unit sold, but they lose out on all of those third-party sales. Now, for anyone interested, you can actually kind of do this with your Xbox by putting it into dev mode. I did a video about it recently. I'll link it down in the description if you want to check it out for yourself and see how you can run emulators on your Xbox console. Play like old Nintendo games, old PlayStation games, and Xbox games, all on just one box. Crazy, right? Now, for everyone being like, well, this could potentially lead to PlayStation putting their games on Xbox as well, because we know that they have a launcher for PC for the games that they've ported over. And no way. No way is that ever going to happen. No way would PlayStation ever allow that to happen. But all of this might not even matter though, because apparently Chris Dring, the head of GameIndustry.biz, he was talking to some head honchos at certain publishers and certain developers at GDC, and they were apparently like, yeah, we don't even know why we support Xbox anymore. Their sales are flatlining in Europe, and their new strategy is confusing. So, you know what? Maybe we should just stick with PC and PS5 and forget about Xbox altogether. He specifically said that he talked to one major company who reportedly released a big game last year and said, I don't know why we bothered supporting it. From what he heard last week, apparently Xbox is in real trouble as a hardware manufacturer. Now, we've talked about Chris Dring on the channel before because previous to this, he apparently talked to some retailers in Europe who told him that they've dropped Xbox physical copies entirely because no one's buying them. And also, according to what he heard, it is understood that all Xbox games, even though they're just starting with the 4 of Pentiment, Sea of Thieves, Hi-Fi Rush, and Grounded, it's understood that all Xbox games will eventually make their way to other consoles. Now, people I see on Twitter are saying that Jez Corden is taking issue with these statements, saying that they're false, saying that... I actually don't know because I can't find where Jez Corden commented on these statements specifically. I know in the past that Jez Corden, specifically with that situation I was just mentioning, where he was like, you know what, physical retailers are dropping Xbox games from their stores. He was like, no, I hear that's not true, that's false. And people are going back and forth saying like, why should I believe Jez Corden? He said this, this, and this, and it was wrong. Oh, why should I believe Chris Dring? He's like blah, 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 blah. And to be honest, guys, whoever you believe in this situation, honestly, it's probably going to come down to like whether you personally like them or not. I find that in this age of YouTubers, influencers, journalists with massive social media followings, streamers who have legions of followers that hang on their every word, that's just pretty much what it comes down to, right? And I'm just speaking from my limited experience as a YouTuber. I have been called the most fair and even YouTuber out there, even though I have an Xbox channel. People are like, oh my gosh, Ray, your Starfield review was the best because it was so even, and you know, it like wasn't leaning towards like fanboyism. I thought you were very fair. Other people have been like, Ray, you are a corporate shill, paid off by Microsoft in order to sing the praises of a dying console. And other people have been like, Ray, you are a fake Xbox fan paid off by Sony to spread weird Xbox propaganda. But whether or not you believe Chris Dring and what he is saying about his experience at GDC, here's where I land. Obviously, I've never met Chris Dring before. I've only met Jez Corden once, and we had a very short conversation. He seemed to be, like, not a big talker in person, so I just kind of left that where it was. I'm not privy to these conversations that Chris Dring had at GDC, but I do believe that what Xbox is doing as far as this new business strategy they're undertaking with this multi-platform approach of theirs, I do believe at the very least it is confusing to these other publishers and players in the industry. And let's be honest, guys, like even before all this multi-platform stuff, even before these statements from Chris Dring and his rumored conversations that he had at GDC, publishers were skipping the Xbox platform. So I don't think it's much of a stretch for current publishers to be like, should we skip it or not? On the flip side of that, though, I think it's a little bit dramatic to say that it's not worth it to release a game on Xbox. Yes, I know there are not as many Xbox Series X or S consoles out there as there are PlayStation 5s. But according to VG Charts, there are a total of 27.5 million Xbox current-gen consoles out there right now. And I get it, 27, 28 million consoles in the grand scheme of things, probably not so much. Especially when you see, oh, the PlayStation 4 sold like, what, 120, 114 million? I don't know. But at the same time, 28 million is a pretty damn big number, let's be honest. I mean, if I had 28 million subscribers versus 160,000, I'm not even there yet. You think I would be in this apartment reacting and breaking down Xbox news? No, my next video, if I had 27, 28 million followers, would be like, playing Xbox on the tallest building in Dubai with LeBron James. I mean, 27.5 million Xboxes out there. I mean, even if you shipped your game onto Xbox and you got a 5% buy rate, let's just do the math right here. So times 0.05, that's still 1,375,000 copies of your game sold, which I feel like any publisher would like an extra million copies of my game sold. Awesome. Like, how much money are they investing in the Xbox versions of these games to where they could be like 1.5, 2 million more extra copies sold? Who cares? I think the real stickler here is not like, oh, making an Xbox version, is that worth it? Honestly, and we've talked about this before on the channel, I think the real stickler here is the Series S version. Now, I don't know much about game development beyond like what I've been reading and what I've been following in the news cycle, but I can't imagine that making the Series X equivalent of a game that launched on PS5 is so different, considering like under the hood, these things are mostly the same. But when you throw in the Series S version, like, oh, you gotta make another version that's optimized and has all the same features, I could see developers being like, oh god, no, I have all these other things I gotta do, and now I gotta worry about freaking making a Series S version that maybe like a couple 100,000 people are gonna play. I don't know. That's kind of where my head goes. It's very clear that Xbox is going through some major changes after this whole multi-platform 2.0 shift. The entire industry is facing challenges with consumer and budgetary shifts, and Xbox is no different. They have an interesting idea for this future of theirs where everyone holds hands, sings Kumbaya, you can play whatever game you want on any device that you want. This world where there's no exclusives and there's no closed ecosystems anymore, which is definitely something I am interested in, especially as I get into my older gaming years. And I've kind of already experienced the baby version through Xbox as a platform by jumping from my Series X to PC to cloud. I can see how all of that can effectively grow Xbox's profits and look really good to Microsoft, but I'm still not sold. I still don't know how it's supposed to help them sell Xbox consoles, which I know that they want to do because they're going to keep making them. Listen, the future can be scary, but it can also be really exciting. And personally, I'm excited to see what Xbox cooks up, whether it's new gaming experiences, whether it's an open ecosystem, whatever they have planned, I'm here for it. I can't wait to find out. Anyways, guys, that's all the Xbox stuff I have to talk about today. Thanks so much for joining me for another edition of Xbox Ready, and I'll see you in the next video.